Hello everyone, Dr. Alan Mandell here. Welcome back to my channel, Science of Healing. Gentlemen, listen carefully. What you do every single day can either protect your manhood or slowly damage it without you even realizing it. We're not just talking about performance. We're talking about blood flow, nerve health, hormone balance, and long-term vitality. Because the truth is simple. Your penis is a barometer of your overall health. If circulation is poor, if inflammation is high, if your arteries are clogged, your body will show the warning signs there first. Today I'm going to share 5 things you should never do to your penis, the science behind them, and the powerful foods that help restore and protect male health naturally. Let's begin. You may think your heart is the first organ to warn you when something is wrong, but in many men, the very first signal appears somewhere far more personal, far more private, and far more alarming when you finally notice it. Long before chest pain, long before a stroke, long before a diagnosis, the body often whispers through changes in sexual performance, changes in firmness, changes in sensitivity, changes that feel embarrassing to talk about but are medically impossible to ignore. Doctors have known for years that the blood vessels supplying the penis are among the smallest arteries in the entire body, and because they are so narrow, they become blocked or damaged earlier than larger vessels that feed the heart and brain. This means a problem in the bedroom is sometimes not a bedroom problem at all. It can be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease developing silently in the background. Scientific studies have shown that erectile difficulties can appear 3 to 5 years before a heart attack, acting like a biological alarm system that many men dismiss until the consequences become life-threatening. Imagine that for a moment, your body sending a signal years in advance, giving you time to act, time to change habits, time to reverse damage, yet that signal is often ignored because of embarrassment, denial, or the belief that aging alone is to blame. But aging is not the true enemy poor circulation is. Healthy function depends on one critical molecule called nitric oxide, a natural chemical your body releases to relax blood vessels and allow blood to flow freely into tissues. When nitric oxide production drops, arteries stiffen, blood flow weakens, and the very mechanism required for normal function begins to fail. This is not a theory, it is basic vascular biology taught in medical schools around the world. High blood pressure slowly injures the delicate lining of arteries, creating microscopic scars that reduce elasticity and limit circulation. High cholesterol builds fatty deposits along vessel walls, narrowing the pathway through which blood must travel. Smoking introduces toxins that damage the endothelium, the thin inner layer of blood vessels responsible for regulating blood flow. And diabetes, one of the fastest growing health conditions globally, can destroy nerves and blood vessels at the same time, making it one of the strongest predictors of erectile dysfunction in men over 40. In fact, research shows that men with diabetes are up to 3 times more likely to experience erectile problems than men without it, and they often develop symptoms 10 to 15 years earlier. These numbers are not meant to frighten you, they are meant to wake you up. Because the penis is not just a reproductive organ, it is a highly sensitive vascular organ that depends entirely on healthy circulation. No blood flow means no oxygen means tissue damage, and tissue damage means loss of function. This chain reaction can begin quietly, gradually, almost invisibly, until one day the change becomes impossible to ignore. Many men assume stress is the only cause, and stress does play a role, but chronic stress triggers a hormone called cortisol, which constricts blood vessels and lowers testosterone levels over time. Testosterone is not just about masculinity or desire. It supports muscle strength, bone density, mood stability, and metabolic health. When testosterone declines, energy drops, fat accumulates around the abdomen, and inflammation increases throughout the body. That inflammation acts like rust inside your arteries, slowly eroding their ability to function properly. Even sleep deprivation can disrupt hormone balance and reduce testosterone production by as much as 10 to 15% in a single week of poor sleep. Think about that the next time you stay up late scrolling on your phone or working long hours without rest. Your body keeps score even when you are not paying attention. Obesity adds another layer of risk because excess fat tissue converts testosterone into estrogen, shifting the hormonal balance in a direction that weakens sexual health and overall vitality. This is why waist size is often a more powerful predictor of health than body weight alone. A growing belly is not just a cosmetic issue, it is a metabolic warning sign. Inside that abdominal fat are inflammatory chemicals that damage blood vessels, raise blood pressure, and increase the risk of heart disease. The connection is so strong that many cardiologists now consider erectile dysfunction an independent risk factor for future cardiovascular events. In other words, it is not merely a symptom, it is a signal that your circulatory system needs attention, a signal that your lifestyle may be pushing your body toward disease, and a signal that change is still possible if you act early enough. The encouraging news is that blood vessels are remarkably responsive to healthy habits. Regular physical activity increases nitric oxide production, improves circulation, and strengthens the heart. Even a simple 30-minute walk each day can enhance vascular function within weeks. Nutritious foods rich in antioxidants help protect the lining of arteries from oxidative stress, the chemical damage caused by pollution, processed foods, and chronic inflammation. Leafy greens, berries, nuts, and healthy fats provide nutrients that support endothelial health and reduce plaque buildup. Hydration keeps blood viscosity at optimal levels, allowing oxygen and nutrients to move efficiently through the body. And stress management techniques like deep breathing, prayer, meditation, or quiet reflection can lower cortisol levels and restore hormonal balance. These are not complicated medical procedures, they are daily choices repeated over time. Consistency is the medicine most people underestimate. Your body is constantly repairing itself, constantly rebuilding cells, constantly adapting to the environment you create through your habits. Give it movement and it becomes stronger. Give it nourishment and it becomes resilient. Give it rest and it becomes balanced. Ignore its signals and the damage accumulates silently. The truth is that sexual health and heart health are deeply connected, two sides of the same biological coin. Strong circulation supports both vitality and longevity. Weak circulation threatens both at the same time. So when changes occur, do not see them as a source of shame. See them as information. See them as an early message from your body asking for attention, asking for care, asking for action. Because the sooner you listen, the greater your chance of protecting not just performance, but your heart, your brain, your energy, and your future. Your body is always communicating. The question is whether you are willing to hear what it is saying before the whisper becomes a warning and the warning becomes a crisis. Every day, millions of men wake up, follow the same routine, and unknowingly repeat small habits that slowly chip away at their health, their strength, and their confidence, not in dramatic ways, but in quiet, invisible damage that builds year after year. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's what makes it so dangerous, because when harm comes slowly, it feels normal, and when it feels normal, it rarely raises alarm. You sit down for work, then for meals, then for television, then for sleep, and before you realize it, your body has spent 10 or 12 hours in the exact same position, with blood flow reduced to critical areas that depend on constant circulation. Medical researchers have discovered that prolonged sitting can slow blood flow in the legs and pelvic region by up to 50%, depriving tissues of oxygen and nutrients they desperately need to stay healthy. The human body was never designed to remain still for long periods, yet modern lifestyles have turned movement into an exception instead of a necessity. This lack of movement triggers a cascade of changes inside the body, starting with reduced circulation and ending with inflammation, nerve compression, and metabolic dysfunction. Even more alarming, studies show that men who sit for more than 6 hours a day have a significantly higher risk of developing erectile dysfunction compared to men who stay physically active. Not because they are older, not because of genetics, but because their daily habits slowly weaken the very systems responsible for vitality. Then comes sugar, the silent saboteur hiding in drinks, snacks, and processed foods that seem harmless in the moment but devastating over time. When sugar enters the bloodstream in large amounts, the body releases insulin to control it, but repeated spikes force the pancreas to work harder and harder until the system begins to fail. This condition, known as insulin resistance, is one of the earliest steps toward type 2 diabetes, a disease that damages nerves and blood vessels throughout the body. High blood sugar acts like tiny shards of glass circulating in the bloodstream, scratching and injuring the delicate lining of arteries with every passing day. Over time, those microscopic injuries turn into plaque buildup, narrowing the vessels and restricting blood flow to vital organs. And because the arteries supplying the penis are smaller than those supplying the heart, they are often the first to suffer. Research has shown that men with uncontrolled blood sugar levels are far more likely to experience nerve damage and circulation problems that interfere with normal function. But sugar is not the only threat hiding in daily routines. Excess belly fat has become one of the most powerful predictors of declining male health, yet many people treat it as a cosmetic issue instead of a medical warning sign. Fat tissue is not passive, it is biologically active, releasing hormones and inflammatory chemicals that disrupt the body's balance. One of its most damaging effects is the conversion of testosterone into estrogen, a hormonal shift that weakens muscle, reduces energy, and lowers sexual drive. This process can begin long before a man notices changes in performance, quietly altering his metabolism and increasing the risk of chronic disease. Scientists have found that men with larger waistlines often have lower testosterone levels, higher blood pressure, and greater insulin resistance, forming a dangerous combination that accelerates aging from the inside out. Dehydration adds another hidden layer of stress to the body, especially in hot climates or busy lifestyles where people forget to drink enough water. When the body lacks sufficient fluid, blood becomes thicker and more difficult to circulate, forcing the heart to work harder to deliver oxygen to tissues. Even mild dehydration can reduce physical performance, impair concentration, and limit blood flow to sensitive organs. Over time, this constant strain contributes to fatigue, headaches, and reduced vascular health. Then there is stress, the invisible weight carried by millions of men every single day, often without recognition or relief. Financial pressure, family responsibilities, job insecurity, and constant digital stimulation keep the nervous system in a state of alertness that never fully shuts down. In this state, the body releases cortisol and adrenaline, hormones designed for short-term survival but harmful when they remain elevated for months or years. Chronic stress constricts blood vessels, raises blood pressure, and suppresses testosterone production, creating a perfect storm for declining health. Sleep becomes restless, energy becomes unstable, and recovery becomes incomplete. Without proper sleep, the body cannot repair damaged cells, regulate hormones, or maintain immune defenses. Researchers have found that men who sleep fewer than 6 hours per night are more likely to develop obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease compared to those who sleep 7 to 8 hours regularly. This is not simply about feeling tired, it is about biological repair being interrupted night after night. Each of these habits, sitting too long, consuming excess sugar, carrying extra weight, neglecting hydration, and living under constant stress, may seem small on their own, but together they create a powerful chain reaction inside the body. Circulation weakens. Inflammation rises. Hormones shift. Nerves become damaged. So, energy declines. Confidence fades. And yet the most troubling part is that many men do not recognize these changes until symptoms become severe. They assume fatigue is normal. They assume weight gain is inevitable. They assume reduced performance is simply part of aging. But science tells a different story. The human body has an extraordinary ability to recover when given the right conditions. Blood vessels can regain flexibility. Hormones can rebalance. Nerves can heal. Metabolism can improve. These changes begin the moment healthier habits replace harmful ones. Standing up and walking for a few minutes every hour can restore circulation and reduce pressure on nerves. Reducing sugar intake can stabilize blood glucose levels and protect arteries from damage. Losing even a small amount of weight can raise testosterone and lower inflammation. Drinking enough water can improve blood flow and support organ function. Managing stress through breathing, exercise, or quiet reflection can calm the nervous system and protect the heart. These actions may seem simple, but their impact is profound because health is not determined by one decision, but by thousands of daily choices repeated over time. Your body responds to what you do consistently, not occasionally. Every meal, every step, every hour of sleep, every moment of movement sends a message to your cells about how to function. Choose habits that nourish your body and it will reward you with strength and resilience. Choose habits that harm your body and the damage will accumulate silently until it becomes impossible to ignore. The difference between decline and vitality is often measured in small decisions made every single day. And the most powerful realization of all is this: the future of your health is being written right now, not in a hospital, not in a laboratory, but in the ordinary routines you repeat without thinking. Most people search for complicated treatments, expensive supplements, or miracle solutions, never realizing that some of the most powerful protectors of male health are already sitting in their kitchen, quietly waiting to be used every single day. Science has repeatedly shown that the body does not rebuild itself with pills alone. It rebuilds itself with nutrients, movement, rest, and consistency, the simple ingredients that fuel every cell in your body from morning until night. Every heartbeat, every nerve signal, every hormone release depends on raw materials supplied by the food you eat, and when those materials are missing, the body begins to weaken in ways you may not notice until the damage becomes impossible to ignore. Your blood vessels are living tissues, constantly repairing themselves, constantly responding to what flows through them, and the difference between strong circulation and restricted flow can be determined by what you place on your plate each day. One of the most critical molecules for male health is nitric oxide, a tiny chemical messenger that tells blood vessels to relax, widen, and allow oxygen-rich blood to reach sensitive tissues. Without enough nitric oxide, arteries become stiff, circulation slows, and the body struggles to deliver the oxygen and nutrients needed for proper function. Researchers have found that certain natural foods contain compounds that directly support nitric oxide production, improving vascular health and restoring blood flow in measurable ways. Consider watermelon, a fruit that seems simple and refreshing, yet contains an amino acid called citrulline that the body converts into arginine, the building block for nitric oxide. Clinical studies have demonstrated that increasing citrulline intake can improve blood vessel flexibility and support healthy circulation, making this humble fruit far more powerful than most people realize. Imagine a natural substance that helps your arteries relax, improves blood delivery, and supports energy production without chemicals or side effects, and yet many people overlook it because it appears ordinary. This is the quiet power of nutrition, small changes that create profound biological effects over time. Another remarkable food is garlic, used for centuries in traditional medicine long before modern laboratories confirmed its benefits. Garlic contains sulfur compounds, including allicin, that help reduce blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and protect the inner lining of arteries from damage. Medical research has shown that regular garlic consumption can improve circulation and reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, one of the leading causes of death among men worldwide. Think about that for a moment. A single clove of garlic added to a meal can support the health of your arteries, your heart, and your overall vitality. The body responds to nutrients in ways that are both immediate and long-lasting, strengthening tissues from the inside out. Then there are eggs, often misunderstood and sometimes avoided because of outdated fears about cholesterol. Modern research has clarified that dietary cholesterol from eggs does not automatically translate into dangerous blood cholesterol levels for most people. Instead, eggs provide essential nutrients like vitamin D, choline, and high-quality protein, all of which support hormone production and muscle maintenance. Testosterone, the hormone responsible for strength, energy, and sexual health, relies on adequate nutrition to remain stable. When protein intake is too low or when vitamin and mineral levels fall below healthy ranges, the body struggles to maintain hormonal balance. Scientists have found that men with adequate vitamin D levels tend to have higher testosterone compared to those who are deficient, highlighting the connection between nutrition and hormonal health. Pomegranate offers another example of how natural foods can protect the body at a cellular level. Rich in antioxidants called polyphenols, this fruit helps neutralize free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells and accelerate aging. Oxidative stress caused by pollution, poor diet, and chronic inflammation can weaken blood vessels, reducing their ability to expand and deliver blood efficiently. Studies have shown that drinking pomegranate juice can improve blood flow and reduce oxidative damage, supporting healthier arteries over time. These benefits are not temporary. They accumulate gradually, strengthening the body's defenses against disease. Leafy greens such as spinach provide magnesium and nitrates, minerals that play a critical role in relaxing blood vessels and supporting nerve function. Magnesium deficiency is surprisingly common, especially in people who consume highly processed foods, and low magnesium levels have been linked to muscle cramps, fatigue, and increased blood pressure. Restoring magnesium through diet can improve vascular health, stabilize heart rhythm, and enhance energy production inside cells. Your body is a complex network of chemical reactions, and every nutrient you consume becomes part of that network, influencing how efficiently it operates. But the real power of these foods lies not in a single serving, but in repetition, the steady rhythm of daily habits that shape your health over months and years. Eating a nutritious meal once will not transform your body overnight, just as one unhealthy meal will not destroy it. What matters is consistency, the pattern you create through everyday choices. The human body is remarkably adaptable, capable of repairing damage, restoring balance, and rebuilding strength when given the right support. Blood vessels can regain flexibility. Hormones can stabilize, energy levels can return. But this recovery depends on the nutrients you provide and the habits you maintain. Skipping meals, relying on processed foods, and ignoring hydration deprive your body of the tools it needs to function properly. Cells become stressed, inflammation rises, and the risk of chronic disease increases. On the other hand, choosing whole foods rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants sends a powerful message to your body: rebuild, repair, and protect. Every bite becomes an investment in your future health. Every glass of water supports circulation and temperature control. Every serving of vegetables strengthens your immune system. Every balanced meal stabilizes blood sugar and reduces stress on vital organs. Over time, these small investments compound into measurable improvements in strength, stamina, and resilience. You may not feel the change immediately, but your body feels it at the cellular level, responding quietly, efficiently, and faithfully. Doctors often say that prevention is more effective than treatment, and nowhere is this more true than in the daily routines that shape long-term health. Waiting until symptoms appear is like waiting for smoke before installing a fire alarm. By the time the warning becomes obvious, damage may already be underway. But when you nourish your body consistently, you build protection before problems arise. This is not about perfection, it is about progress. It is about choosing foods that support circulation, hormones, and energy instead of foods that weaken them. It is about understanding that your health is not determined by genetics alone, but by the environment you create inside your body every day. The remarkable truth is that your kitchen can become one of the most powerful places for healing and prevention. Not because of expensive ingredients or complicated recipes, but because of simple, natural foods used regularly and wisely. Your body listens to what you feed it. It responds to what you repeat. And the future of your strength, vitality, and confidence is being shaped right now by the choices you make at your next meal.